So, for some context, Jesus heals somebody on the Sabbath. Okay, he's paralyzed. Um, so it says when Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me get in the pool, and the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus says, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." At once, the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. The day on which this took place was a Sabbath. This will be an interesting detail. And the Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, "It is the Sabbath. The law forbids you to carry your mat." But he replied, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" So they said, "Who is this fellow who told you to pick it up and walk?" The man who was healed had no idea who it was, for Jesus had slipped away into the crowd that was there. Later, Jesus found him at the temple and said to him, "See, you are well again. Stop sinning, or something worse may happen to you." The man went away and told the Jewish leaders that it was Jesus who made him well. So because Jesus was doing these things on the Sabbath, the Jewish leaders began to persecute him. In his defense, Jesus said to them, "My Father is always at work to this day, and I too am working." This is an interesting one. I want you to pay attention. For this reason, they tried all the more to kill him. Not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was even calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. And it's also important that the Jews misunderstand Christ over and over and over again. Nicodemus misunderstands Christ. He says, "What do you mean you have to be born again? What does that even mean?" They misunderstand him when he talks about the manna from heaven. They misunderstand him when many times. There's so many examples that I can't even. Do you have that diagram, Dean, by any chance?
Yeah, so we got a table. It's not exhaustive, but this is a general outline. So it's like Libiano mentioned. There's a theme in the Gospel of John where the Jews, the opponents of Jesus, are always misinterpreting him. They have no idea, right? So we can start from here. So this is what Libiano was mentioning before. Our high-ranked Jew Nicodemus doesn't understand Jesus 2 times. Then Jesus tells him, "You're a high-ranked Jew and you don't know this," right? Then you have a group of Jews arguing with John's disciples. You have they think healing on the Sabbath is forbidden. They think calling God your Father is blasphemous. They don't recognize prophecies of Jesus in the Old Testament. They don't understand Jesus talking about spiritual food, like Libiana mentioned. They think he's demon possessed and act oblivious on who's trying to kill him. They misunderstand the origins of Messiah. They think, the origins of the Messiah should be mysterious. They don't understand a thing Jesus says. It says this explicitly here. They think the Messiah can't come from Galilee. They mistake Jesus' testimony as being invalid, as though he has a sole testimony. Chapter 8, verse 22, they think Jesus will kill himself when he says he's going to die and resurrect. And verse 25, they don't understand who Jesus claims to be, even though he's made it clear he's claiming to be the Messiah. They don't
He
understand
also,
spiritual
when he
slavery.
talks about the temple, right? They misunderstand him when he says, break this temple and I will raise it in 3 days, right? And then they misunderstand what he's saying.
Yep.
Right.
They don't understand spiritual slavery. They misunderstand what it means to be a son of Abraham. Jesus says, "Why is my language not clear to you?" in verse 43. They think Jesus is demon-possessed and a Samaritan. They think he's demon-possessed again. And they misunderstand Jesus as saying he saw Abraham rather than Abraham seeing Jesus' day. They misunderstand the I am statement. They think healing on the Sabbath is forbidden again. And so on and so forth. So
anyways, it's all over the place. Okay, that's the theme in John's gospel. The Jews are stupid. They can't understand. They don't understand Jesus. They can't get him right. They can't explain him, interpret him right. That's the whole theme. All right. So this is why this is going to be important here, because the author isn't saying this because he believes this. The author is saying that this is why the Jews wanted to kill him. Right? He says it right here. For this reason, they tried all the more to kill him. Right? Not only was he breaking the Sabbath, well, according to them, he was breaking the Sabbath. According to John, he wasn't breaking the Sabbath. All right? And calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. Right? We broke that down already. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Jesus gave them this answer. Very truly, I tell you, the Son can do nothing by himself. All right? He can only do what he sees the Father doing. Now, this is not an absolute statement, and I'll explain why in a second. Because whatever the Father Son, the Son also does. Right? Not an absolute statement. You understand why? For the Father loves the Son and shows him all he does. Now, watch this. Now, this is what comes after explains what came before. Yes, and he will show him even greater works than these. So when Jesus says that the Son does whatever the Father does, he's talking about miracles. Right? The whole context is that Jesus healed somebody. Right? So the Father teaches the Son the miracles. He grants him the miracles. You see? Yes, and he will show even greater works than these. So the Son, or the Father, will show the Son even greater miracles than these. So that you will be amazed. You'll show, the Father will show the Son miracles, so that we will be amazed and believe. For just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, even so the Son gives life to whom he is pleased to give it. So the Father gives ability to the Son, gives power to the Son to raise the dead. Right? Moreover, the Father judges no one, but he has entrusted all judgment to the Son. Right? Again, so it's the Father delegating the Son with authority and power, that all may honor the Son just as they honor the Father. Now, this is interesting because the Didache says something similar. The Didache says that the one who teaches you doctrine, the one who teaches you Christianity, you must honor him as you honor God. So it's not saying to worship him as you worship God, right? As a random person teach you doctrine, teaching you Christianity, right? Whoever does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Again, it's showing you the Father and the Son have such a unique, special relationship, right? The Father sends the Son, and if you don't believe in the Son, you can't believe in the Father. And he says this many times over. Okay? So that's clear. Now, very truly I tell you, whoever hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life, and will not be judged, but crossed over from death to life. Very truly I tell you, a time is coming and has now come when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who will hear will live. Whoever hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life. So those who are spiritually dead, okay, will hear the word that the Father grants to Christ to preach, and those who will hear it will live. They will spiritually dead, and now they will come to have life. For as the Father has life in himself, so he granted the Son to have also life in himself. And he has given him authority to judge because he is the Son of Man. Okay? That's clear. Now, that's fine. Now, what comes after that may be a reference to the general resurrection. You see? Do not be amazed at this, for a time is coming, for an hour is coming, when all who are in their graves will hear the voice and come out. Those who have done what is good will rise to live, and those who have done what is evil will rise to be condemned. So maybe this is a reference to general resurrection. This doesn't seem to be talking about somebody who's spiritually dead and then spiritually lives. Okay? And then he says, by myself I can do nothing. I judge only as I hear, and my judgment is just, for I seek not to please myself, but him who sent me. Okay? So it's clear in John's Christology, in John's idea, Jesus cannot act independently from the Father. He is delegated by the Father. His authority, his power is from the Father. The Father teaches him how to do miracles. Okay? And this is the framework that is in John's gospel.